Hello and welcome. I am Melissa Brown. I am the Deputy Director of the Macmillan Center. We're absolutely thrilled to welcome everyone here today. The Macmillan Center is Yale University's International Center. We are an international hub for campus. Our mission is to pursue excellence in research, teaching, and capacity building across societies and to bring about a more informed, inclusive, and flourishing world. And this particular project, we bring in chefs that correspond with the 7 regional councils that we have. So of course today is our Council on Middle East Studies. And we do this in collaboration with our dear friends at the Schwartzman Center and our dear friends in Yale Hospitality. For those who haven't seen it, the way that this works is we bring in these wonderful, remarkable chefs, each of whom has a deep commitment to social and environmental topics, and we have them work with our staff members in Yale Hospitality to learn how to cook food from their traditions. So that in this case, starting right after spring break, a menu prepared by today's chef in residence will be offered in Yale University's Commons, which is really exciting because this is a multi-month, multi-faceted experience where we can all then taste the food. Global Table is intended to highlight the connections between sustainability, health, community, and connection between people. So everybody loves food, right? Our guest today, Chef Ebru, is what she calls herself a social gastronomy chef. She's from Turkey. She is the chef owner of, I'm going to say this terribly, and I apologize for this, but she is the chef owner of Cercis Murat Mansion in Mardin, Turkey. She has received at least 20 awards. It's like a whole book looking at all the amazing awards that she's won. Many of them are for culinary excellence, but the others are really there for a variety of things, such as socioeconomic repercussions from the migrant crisis, the impact of climate change on soil, using resilient food systems to bolster the local economy, empowering women, tackling food waste, you name it. This woman has tackled it in amazing and beautiful and delicious ways, I will say. She was also the first Turkish chef to receive the Basque Culinary World Prize, which is the Nobel Prize of Gastronomy. It's called that because it celebrates culinary leaders who are committed to transforming society through gastronomy. So really exciting addition to our growing program at Global Table. Today's talk will be a combination of, as you probably saw, video and speaking. We will conclude with a Q&A, and then after the events, we will all migrate over to Schwartzman, to the Well, for an amazing reception that will feature food that's been informed by the chef and prepared by Yale Hospitality's culinary experts. So on that note, I will stop talking and welcome everyone to Chef Ebru.
I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for your kind invitation. It is truly an honor to be here with you at Yale University, a place of deep history and knowledge. I hope this will be an inspiring conversation for all of us. First, we have a video.
Kemeri bel üstüdür, her demgine o yare, oy desinler dostudur. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan, ben sana hayran, uyaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan, ben sana hayran, uyaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır, ah bir giyse üstüne. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan, ben sunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır. Ah bir girse üstüne, ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır. Ah bir girse üstüne, ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır. Ah bir girse üstüne, ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır. Ah bir girse üstüne, ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Yarim giyer fistane, yare fistan yaraşır. Ah bir girse üstüne, ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman. Ucunar yar can, kolunda mercan. Ben sana hayran, yaman aman.
Ebru Baybara Demir, a Turkish chef, winner of the Basque Culinary World Prize. She has a champion of cooking and ready-to-eat. She's also a champion of food loss and waste awareness.
A big round of applause for Ebru here.
It was a social gastronomy, and I was a social gastronomy chef, where I discovered that cooking is not just about the taste, but also about the positive impacts it has on the people's lives. I dedicate this award to women who change their own lives by utilizing the most important skill, cooking. Thank you. Starting off with this video, I want to let you experience what I am doing in Turkey. I'm a social gastronomy chef, even though my job will seem as solely cooking. What really matters to me, how many people's lives have changed through the taste of food that I prepare, no matter when and where they are. I have been managing several projects that targeted disadvantaged groups, particularly women in the southeast of Turkey, based on rural development, integration of refugees, strengthening of women by providing them source of income and vocational training with the collaboration of EU, UN agency, and public institutions. I come from Mardin, located southeastern Turkey. It is only 33 kilometers away from the Syrian border. It is one of the oldest cities in Mesopotamia. The population is 800,000. It is one of the cities with the highest proportion of Syrian refugees, 12% of the total population. I was born as a third daughter, a traditional Mardin family. Although my father took us to Istanbul 40 years ago, a time when being a woman was considered disadvantaged because of the patriarchal social structure, he worked hard to ensure that his daughters could study and graduate from university. Three sisters have all achieved success in all our own fields. Exactly 23 years ago, after father took us to Istanbul, my homeland and roots called me back. I returned to Mardin in the late 90s, the age of 23, as a tour guide. Mardin was one of the cities whose economy was based on traditional agriculture and border trade 25 years ago. Although it is underdeveloped agriculture-based economy and security problems obscured the city's values for many years. I saw a city of tourism with different cultures, cuisine, rituals, and historical texture. These hidden values have become a goal and passion for me. If you want to do tourism in a city, you need not only the natural texture of that city, but also proper accommodation to host guests. When I first stepped on this path, I knew it will be difficult. But with the passion in me, pursued to create a new path every time. Because if you live in a difficult geography, you should always have been plan B, B, C, D, even plan E. At first, I was hosting tourist groups in Mardin. In the period, that was a 3-star hotel and a small restaurant in Mardin. One day, a group of tourists refused to eat at that restaurant. While I was thinking about what to do, my sister-in-law came up with an idea. We hosted a group of 28 people in her house, servicing traditional delicacies prepared by the women in the neighborhood. This meal served on the floor table revealed the magic of the Mardin's woman, the market of the beginning of the new era for me. Together with 21 other women, I started hosting tourists in our homes. Most of them were illiterate, housewives, or traditional family workers, but they were earning money from what they knew best, cooking. This spark we had lit was ready to turn into the Great Fire. In 2001, we moved our business to our new restaurant, Cercis Murat Mansion. Taking 21 women with me, I started writing a new story in Mardin. The change we initiate was met with backlash from society. The fact that a 24-year-old young woman and 21 others who followed her running a restaurant that served alcohol was difficult for people to accept within the dynamics of the conservative society. To them, I was outside the boundaries of the traditional female role. But I never gave up on my goals and dreams. When tourists started to arrive at the Cercis Murat Mansion, Mardin's first tourism business revealed the region's income potential from tourism and marketed the beginning of the city transformation. It makes no sense to tell people about your dreams. In this process, I realized that it's not words, but proven achievements that can change the society. The change I initiated in Mardin with my restaurant began to break down the stereotypes. Inspired by the courage of the one woman and 21 others, the people of Mardin began investing in city tourism. In 1999, Mardin had an annual tourist number was 11,000 and bed capacity was 220. Today, Mardin is one of the most important tourism destinations in Turkey, hosting more than 4 million tourists a year and bed capacity of over 20,000. The story of the traditional flavors began in the courtyard of house, become a foundation for city's development, transforming both my life and lives of those who walked with this path with me. In 2012, a new era began for me and my family. Our lives changed completely when we learned that my 5-year-old daughters had a brain tumor. Doctors explained that such cases were becoming increasingly common, with the unhealthy food consumption beginning of the main causes. As a mother of 3 and a chef who feeds hundreds of the people daily, this incident made me realize the responsibility towards the future generation. From that moment on, I focused the source of food and seed and soil. I started searching not only soil, but also ancient scenes, farming models, and pesticides. The more I searched, the more questions I had. Where does the food I bring home come from? What about the food I serve in my restaurant? These questions become more important to me every day. Then I came across the sorghum wheat. Sorghum wheat is the oldest wheat variety of Mesopotamia. It's cultivated in the small quantities in the nearby villages using traditional farming methods. It can be grown without irrigation and resistant to drought threats. I live in Mesopotamia, where agriculture began in these arable lands 12,000 years ago. Turkey was granary of the world with 1,800 different types of wheat. Unfortunately, we lost the genetic heritage which was formed in 8,000 years due to the conventional agriculture the last 70 years. To ensure the future of food, we must protect our diversity. Small farmers who cultivate only a few acres of land continue to grow old seed varieties because their land is not suitable for large-scale modern farming, and they do not use the machinery. Although these traditional methods do not yield high productivity, they remain the easiest and most economical way of farming. The sustainability of the agriculture and food depends on the small farmers who respect the soil, water, and human health by adhering to traditional agricultural methods, not just Turkey, but worldwide. Turkey uses 77% of the water resources for agriculture. In 1999, we found the water at depth of 150 meters through drilling. Now we have to go down to 850 meters. To ensure sustainable agriculture, we must urgently find ways to reduce water consumption in farming. Agricultural costs are rising, and the younger generation recalled to take up farming. Farmers who have been accustomed to getting the high yields from conventional agriculture for a long time did not want to plant sorghum wheat because of their low yields. However, the real change in agriculture is not production capacity. We already grow more than we consume, but the way we farm. In pursuit of the higher yield, we have depleted the energy resources, especially water and electricity. More importantly, we have irreversibly damaged our soil and polluted our water with chemicals. That period also witnessed the hottest time to the Syrian war, and we as a city started living with a significant refugee population. Our border neighbors become next door neighbors. The cracks in already fragile regional economy depend with the wave of the migration. Unemployment began to rise, and integration became a crucial issue affecting daily life. Syrian women, hit hardest by struggling economy, faced the greatest challenges. There was a need for social assistance and integration of thousands of people who had left their homes because of war. As a social gastronomy chef, I believe that the best way to sustain life, agriculture, and food was to make the most of what we had. Syrian women have long been skilled in the traditional farming methods. So I combined their agricultural knowledge with our own methods, and together we started cultivating sorghum wheat. We learned how to clean the soil from the chemicals and to practice sustainable agriculture from Syrian refugee women. In 2017, as a part of Living Soil local seed project supported by the UNFAO, we planted 2 tons of sorghum wheat on 102 acres of land with the help of 70 women, 35 of them whom were Syrian refugees. Today, 360 women farmers continue cultivating sorghum wheat on the 36,000 acres using traditional farming methods that respect the soil, nature, and people. I am interested in how many people's lives that changed as much as the flavor of the plate. The sorghum wheat project is the best example for this. Not only it is possible to access local seeds, but also provide a solution for the problem of the employment and the integration of Syrian women. Our biggest aim to access more local crop varieties and enhance the agricultural techniques we have learned from Syrian women, and to cultivate these crops which has not been affected by drought for the future of food again in Mesopotamia, and send it the world from there. I realize that most important factor in the country's development is sustainable growth. Sustainable development requires supporting local on-site production and on-site consumption. In order to local development, all the lifeblood of the city, from producer to sellers, from seed to seed, the soil needs to be nourished. To achieve local development, it's essential to first understand the sociology of the region we live in and sustainable resources. Every region has their own unique social structure, cultural dynamics, and natural resources. Therefore, for development projects succeed, it is crucial to accurately analyze the local needs and utilize the existing resources in the most efficient way. By combining traditional production methods with the modern and sustainable approach, it is possible to promote economic development while preserving the cultural heritage of the region. However, the most important factor in achieving this, ensuring the active participation of the local community. When we effectively harness the potential of the local people, it becomes possible to create a sustainable and inclusive development model. As the time passed and needs change, my philosophy remained the same. New projects kept emerging, each brings new opportunities for me, community I live. Some of the oldest olive trees in Anatolia grow in Mardin. These value trees produce exceptionally high-quality olive oil. However, due to the region's dietary traditions, which rely heavily on animal-based food, olive oil farmers struggled to sell their products. As a result, farmers began cutting down the olive trees to cultivate crops with higher economic value. To preserve Mardin's unique olive heritage and to provide farmers with a sustainable resource of income, a strategic approach was needed. The expertise of the Syrian women in producing the high-quality olive oil present a new opportunity for the olive trees of Mardin. In this woman could produce soap using the oil extract from the local olive trees. If this woman could produce soap using oil extract from the local olive trees, it will create a significant market for the farmers and help prevent the destruction of these valuable trees. Within this vision, Aleppo Soap Production Project was launched in 2018 with the support of UNFAO. Soap production began using olive oil sources from local producers. During the process, Syrian women not only produced soap but also trained the disadvantaged women in Turkey, enabling them to work together in production. This project became both source of income for women and powerful tool for integration. By end of this project, in first year, 22,000 bars of soap had been produced. The key of the integration of empowering people to build their own lives and to achieve economic independence. Aleppo Soap Project successfully demonstrated how cultural knowledge can be used as a means of integration and economic development. However, its most significant impact was creating a new market for the Mardin's olive trees, contributing to their preservation. When the pandemic hit, all the plans changed. A significant number of the people who relied on tourism and daily jobs became unemployment. We needed to find a solution and support these individuals. At this point, the 22,000 bars of soap produced through the Aleppo Soap Production Project became our starting point. We branded the soaps and began selling through the social media during the pandemic, selling all of them in a short time. We decided to reinvest the profits, continue the production, and establish a sustainable income model. During this process, we expanded our product range, which was traditional made. As demand continued to grow, we professionalized the project and brought it under the roof of the social cooperative Soil to Plate. Soon, farmers could not find a place. The national market started to bring their products to our cooperative. We began the processing and selling products from the small local farmers who couldn't reach the national market. This experience once again highlighted the importance of strengthening local production, consuming locally, supporting small-scale farmers. Today, the Soil to Plate Cooperative has become a self-sustaining and profitable ecosystem with over 170 traditional farmers' products reaching Turkey and for 65 employees. First, this Sorghum project, and later my closer collaboration with the small farmers during the pandemic gave me opportunity to experience the soil and its conditions firsthand alongside the farmers. In 2020, for the first time, Turkey faced a serious drought. Of course, climate change plays a role in this. On the other hand, the soil was severely degraded by the conventional agriculture practices and use of the chemical fertilizer. Our water resources are running out and the land becoming desert. I believe that for sustainability of life, agriculture and food, first, we need to restore the balance that we have already lost. It is actually not that hard to do. We don't need the big investment and advanced technology for this. What we need to do to take power of the nature with us and use it power which has able to renew itself. One more time, the transformative power of food has been the solution. Moreover, this time by sending food back to where it comes from. To prevent agriculture drought in the soil, we must support the function of the food chain. We can achieve this by increasing the amount of the organic matter and enhancing the number of the microorganisms in the soil. In April 2021, we launched the composting project in southeastern Turkey and later expanded the nationwide. Every day we collect the biodegradable food waste from the different neighborhood markets and turn it into the compost. Compost help restore the chemically damaged and the desertified soils, increasing organic matter, improve the soil quality, enhance water retention, reducing irrigation needs by 1/3. The microorganism in compost strengthen the soil, reduce fertilizer use by 1/5, increase the crop yields, and produce the healthier food. Last year, 25,000 of biodegradable waste were turned into the 8,500 tons of the compost and distributed to the farmers for free. Additionally, usable fruits and the vegetables were turned into hot meals, feeding 1,200 people daily. The remaining have been turned into the packaged products and delivered to those in need through the soup kitchens and food banks. The project is supported to 6 academics, partnership with the 54 municipalities, and over 3,500 volunteers. Then, one morning, we woke up and life was not the same as a few hours ago. A devastating earthquake hit 11 cities in Turkey on February 6, 2023. There was no way stand still for me there was no way for me to stand still. After finding out my family was safe, I set out to provide support by doing what I knew best. I had no idea what we would be facing or what would happen. Tens of thousands of lives were lost in earthquake, which affected millions of people. After Osmaniye, Kahramanmaraş, and Adıyaman, we went to the Hatay. Life had stopped here. In our culture, there is a saying, when the oven is lit, life goes on. So we lit the fire first and we cooked. We established a soup kitchen there. We named it Gönül Mutfağı, which means heart of kitchen, because everyone was working there with their heart. Before I continue, I would like to show you a movie, convey this journey of hope and unity that has been going on for more than 2 years. What you are watching is success of Gönül Mutfağı, which continues to work and meet the needs. I hope you have been inspired by both the power of food and endless passion of mine behind all my efforts. This power started by transforming the life of the Mardin's woman and then changed the stereotypes, social and economic realities of the others by touching their life. Finally, it became a regenerative tool for climate change and growth and also hope for the future of both the soil and our children. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Chef. We will now move on to the question and answer portion of the program. We will take 3 questions at a time. I have a microphone here. Sarah up in the back corner has a microphone also for that side. If anyone would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. Chef will be working through her translator to help answer some of the questions. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand.
Dinliyorsun Burak.
Thank you for being here, Chef. I just first want to say that I've become exponentially more hungry all of your beautiful food. So I'm very excited to try some of that soon. But I first want to ask what I think is a difficult question. So I obviously know that the Republic of Turkey has a complex history. And I primarily refer to the painful history of ethnic cleansing and discrimination that has impacted Armenian, Greek, Assyrian, and Kurdish communities in Turkey. Now, I know these are challenging issues, but how do you see food as a tool for healing and dialogue, especially since you are from Mardin, which is a town that is historically extremely diverse? Have you seen examples where shared culinary traditions help preserve cultural memory while also fostering understanding between historically divided groups?
Türkiye'de hani birçok grubun daha önce çok acı çektiği bir coğrafya. Yemek konusunda konuştuğunda tabii Mardin de çok hani etnik olarak çok kökeni olan bir coğrafya. Farklı kişilerin bulunduğu. Peki bu insanların da Türkiye içinde yaşamış ve hani acı çekmiş bir sürü grubunda yemek tarafından hani nasıl birleştirilebilir? Bunu da böyle olduğunu düşünüyor musunuz?
Biz bunu en iyi depremde yaşadık. Böyle gel istersen daha kolay olur. Biz bunu en iyi depremde yaşadık. Bu görmüş olduğunuz 11 bin şehirde aslında resmi olarak 55 bin ölü deklare edildi ama bana göre 1 milyondan fazla insan öldü. İstersen böyle çevir.
Mic check. All right. So we really experienced the unifying power of this, especially during the earthquake. The official numbers are that 55,000 people died. However, probably over a million perished.
Burada görmüş olduğunuz her şey bütün 11 şehirde herkes yaptı. Yani burada bir etnik köken, kimse kimsenin etnik kökenini sormadı. Ve bunlar, bütün insanlar birleştiler. Aslında devlet değil, oradaki herkes kimlik sormadan, ne olduğunu sormadan herkes bir araya gelerek yaptı.
During the earthquake, in all 11 cities that were affected, everybody came together, regardless of any ethnic background. Nobody was asking, who are you, where you're from. It was a completely unified effort. It was not the government, it was the people that weren't seeing past each other's humanity that came together and helped each other out.
Bu görmüş olduğunuz her şeyi yemek yaptı zaten. Bir şehir ekonomisi, bir ülkenin ekonomisi değişiyor bu şekilde. Kadınların hayatı değişiyor. Dolayısıyla burada etnik kökenler değil, insanların ne yaptığı ve neyi nasıl bir araya getirdiği önemli bence.
And everything you've seen here today was due to the result of food. A whole city's history and story changed through food, and a lot of women's lives, regardless of what their ethnicity was, has changed through food as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Chef, so much for your for the presentation and for the discussion of your work. You mentioned that you started off with working with 21 women in your hometown. And you mentioned that initially there were opposition from the rest of the society. So can you just maybe talk a bit more on how the attitudes changed and how sort of even the rest of the society came together? You mentioned sort of to invest in tourism and restaurants in your hometown. Thank you.
İlk önce çok bir tepkiyle karşılaştığını söylediniz. Bu tepki peki zamanla nasıl değişti? İnsanların size restoranınıza çok yatırım yaptığını ve yardım ettiğini de söylediniz. Hani bunlar nasıl gelişti?
Evet. Aslında ben kız çocuğu olarak doğduğum için babam bir karar verdi ve o yüzden İstanbul'a gitti. Çünkü bizim ülkemizde özellikle benim yaşadığım yerde kız çocuğu çok değerli bir şey değil.
My father left to take us to Istanbul when I was born as the third daughter, because in the geography that I lived in, being a daughter is not valuable.
Ben çok şanslıydım. Ben çok şanslıydım. Doğru bir babaya sahiptim ve bizi alıp İstanbul'a götürdü.
I was very lucky to have the right father that he wanted us to succeed and took us to Istanbul.
Ben Mardin'e döndüğüm zaman hala kadınlar kabul görmüyorlardı.
When I went back to Mardin, being a woman in power was still
Onlar
not socially accepted.
eşlerinden izin almadan dışarıya çıkamazlarken sosyal hayatta yoktular.
They were non-existent in society, and they couldn't even leave the house without getting permission from their husbands.
Ama yaptığım işin doğru olduğuna her zaman inandım ve çok mücadele ettim.
But I always believed in what I was doing was the right thing to do, and I have fought a lot.
Bir kadının neler yapabileceği aslında onlara kabullendiler. Zor da olsalar kabullendiler.
They had to accept what a woman could do, even if it was hard for them. They saw it and they had to accept it.
Aslında eğitim ve gelir düzeyi düşük olan yerlerde insanlara bir şeyler yaptırmak istiyorsanız ve kabullendirmek istiyorsanız onların en iyi bildiği şeyi ekonomiye çevirmek zorundasınız.
My experience has been that in places where there is not a lot of high-level education, to get people to believe in things, you need to show them that it can be economically successful.
Kendi yaptıkları işi ekonomiye çevirmek.
And what it was converting what they already do best and changing it into something that can make money, turning into economy.
Ben şu anda Mardin'in en şanslı kadınıyım.
I am the luckiest woman in Mardin.
Herkes benim mucize yaratabileceğimi düşünüyor.
Everyone thinks I can perform miracles.
Artık kadınlar her yerde çalışıyorlar.
And women work everywhere now in Mardin.
Bir gün bir ahçım çok zor durumdaydı ve 5 çocuğu olan bir kadın. Bir gün 5 çocuğu olan bir kadın restoranıma geldi.
One day, a woman with 5 children came to my restaurant.
Seni duydum, çok zor durumdayım, bana yardım eder misin dedi.
I've heard about you. I'm in a really difficult situation. Could you help me out? She said.
Kocam beni terk etti ve ailem, çocuklarım da beni kabul etmiyor ve ben ne yapacağımı bilmiyorum.
My husband has left me and he's rejecting me and my kids, and I do not know what to do.
Ne yapabilirsin dedim. Hiçbir şey bilmiyorum dedi. Yemek yapmayı bilmiyorum dedi.
I said, what can you do? She said, I don't know anything. She said, I can't even cook.
Peki başka bir yerden başla dedim ve başta da restoranda çalışmaya başladı. Bizim her yerde her kadın, çünkü benim hiçbir personelim profesyonel veya turizm eğitimi almış insanlar değil.
Well, I said you have to start somewhere, and she started working in my restaurant. None of my employees are actually officially trained.
Mutfakta herkes en iyi bildiği işi yapar.
Everyone in the kitchen just does what they know best.
Çalışmaya başladı, her şeyi öğrendi.
Once she started working, she learned everything.
6 ay içerisinde.
In only 6 months.
Evini değiştirdi.
She got a new house.
Çocukları okula başladı.
Her kids started school.
Bir gün bana dedi ki, ben biliyor musun buraya çocuklarımın geçimini sağlamak için geldim.
She said, believe me, I came here to be able to afford my kids livelihood.
Ama şimdi kızlarım senin gibi olsun diye buraya geliyorum dedi.
But now I'm coming here so that my daughters turn up like you.
Ve 4 kızı üniversiteyi bitirdi.
Her 4 daughters finished university.
Ve hayatı değişti.
And all of their lives changed.
Bu değişimi yaşadıktan sonra insanlar bunu devam ettirmek için hayatlarına sahip çıkıyorlar.
After people experience this like life-changing thing, they always try to sustain it to be able to protect that.
Tarımdan bir örnek vereceğim. Bu da çok önemli. Devletin taban fiyatı, yani satmamızı söylediği buğday fiyatı 9 lira Türkiye'de.
I'm going to give an example from agriculture. The government's set maximum price for what we can sell is $9.
Ama şu anda bizim çiftçilerimiz yetiştirdiği bu çok özel ürünü 55 liradan satabiliyorlar.
Now they can sell this product that they make from $55.
Turkish lira.
Well, Turkish lira.
Dolayısıyla bu kazancı elde ettikten sonra tabii ki değişime ayak uydurmak ve sahiplenmek onların hayatının bir parçası oluyor.
I mean, after this economic change, it becomes a part of their lives to sustain this and keep it going.
Hem sosyal hayat hem ekonomik hayat değişince yaptıkları işe ve yaşadıkları hayata sahip çıkıyorlar.
They start taking care of the lives that they live more once the social and economic aspect of their lives change.
I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about what happened when the Syrian war started and you started to have a lot of immigrants from Syria, and you mentioned that you worked with Syrian women in learning some of their traditional agricultural practices, and I just was wondering if you could explain a little bit more about how that happened.
Suriye'deki savaş çıktıktan sonra sizin Mardin'in nasıl değiştiğini biraz anlatabilir misiniz? Ve de özellikle de Suriyeli kadınlardan da bazı tarım teknikleri öğrendiğinizi söylediniz. Bundan da biraz bahsedebilir misiniz?
Mardin nüfusu 800 bin ve bunun %12'si, yani 100 bini Suriyeli mülteci.
There 800,000 people live in Mardin, and 12% of this, so about 100,000, is Syrian refugees.
Şu anda Türkiye'de 8 milyon Suriyeli mülteci yaşıyor.
There is 8 million refugees in Turkey in total right
Dünyadaki
now.
en büyük mülteci nüfusuna sahibiz.
Turkey has the largest refugee population in the world currently,
Türkiye'de hiçbir vatandaş onları duymak istemiyor.
and no citizen of Turkey wants to hear about this.
Devletin bununla ilgili herhangi bir politikası yok.
The government doesn't have any policies regarding this.
Sadece kapıyı açtık ve onlar geldiler.
They only opened the border for them and they came.
Avrupa Birliği ile yapılan anlaşmayla sadece geçici koruma statüsündeler.
They are only in a protective temporary status from the agreement with European Union.
Bu insanlar sadece ucuz iş gücü olarak bakılıyor.
And people only see them and regard them as cheap labor.
Bence konu bu kadar basit değil.
But it's not as simple as that.
Çünkü benim sokakta dışarıda oynayan çocuğumun arkadaşı Suriyeli mülteci.
Because my kid's friend who is playing outdoors with him is also a refugee.
Bu insanlar geri dönemiyorlar.
They can't go back
Çünkü hala savaş devam ediyor.
because there still is
Gitti
war.
deseler de.
Even if they say it is over.
Başka bir yere de gidemiyorlar.
And they can't go anywhere else either.
Çalışma izinleri yok.
They don't have work
Ve
permits
yaşamak zorundalar.
and they have to keep on living.
Dolayısıyla bunu yönetmek zorundayız.
So we have to manage this.
Bu yaptığımız bütün projeler aslında devlete bu işin nasıl doğru yapılacağını gösteriyor.
All of our projects that we undertake are to show the government how it can be done properly,
Ve birçok insana da.
and to many other people as well.
Ben Ebru olarak, ben onlara Suriyeli veya herhangi bir etnik köken olarak bakamıyorum. Ben onlara insan olarak bakabiliyorum.
Me as Ebru, I can't look at them as Syrians or a different ethnicity than me. I look them as humans.
Ama şunu da gördüm ki onlarla çok zenginleştim.
However, I've also seen that I got a lot richer with them.
Bugün Suriyeli bir kadın, biliyorsunuz, çok zorluklarla yaşıyorlar.
Syrian women live with a lot of struggles.
6 çocuğu olan bir kadın,
A woman with 6 kids,
adı Rumi. Rumi.
named Rumi.
Suriye'deki hayatım mı, buradaki hayatım mı dedim. Sordum.
I asked her, do you prefer your life here or in Syria?
Her şeye rağmen buradaki hayatım dedi.
She said, against all odds, still my life here.
Çünkü burada değer görüyorum, paramı kazanıyorum ve çocuklarıma bakıyorum. Ve istediğimi alabiliyorum.
Because here I feel valued. Here I can earn money, look after my kids, and I can buy whatever I want.
Bu çok önemli ki dünyada ve dünyanın her yerinde biz hep teknolojiyi gözümüzün önüne koyuyoruz.
It's really important. All over the world, we always focus a lot on technology.
Gelişimi teknolojiyle görüyoruz.
We think progress is technology.
Bana göre dünyanın %60'ı bu teknolojiye ayak uydurabilecek şartlara sahip değiller.
I don't believe that about 60% of the world don't have the tools to be able to adapt to this technology.
Dolayısıyla bizim ileriyi görebilmemiz için geleneksel yöntemlere ihtiyacımız var.
So for us to be able to move forward, we still need the traditional methods.
Buraya kadar onların teknikleriyle geldik. Yani bu tekniklerle geldik. Bundan sonra da onlarla devam edebiliriz diye düşünüyorum.
We came this far with these techniques, the traditional techniques, and I believe that we can keep going with them.
Size o kadar çok metot anlatabilirim ki tarımda öğrendiğim.
I can list countless of methods that I've learned in agriculture.
Bunları şu anda toprakta uyguluyoruz ve başarı sağladık. Muhteşem sonuçlar aldık.
We're getting incredible results when we apply this to the soil where we live.
Sadece sabun projesi, salça yapıyoruz, birçok şey yapıyoruz. Onlar evinde ne yapıyorsa biz sadece fırsatları görüp onlara için ne yapabiliriz'i görmek. Yani ortak ne yapabiliriz? Onlar sabun yapmayı biliyor, bizde zeytinyağı var. İkisini birleştiriyoruz. Bundan bir hikaye yaratıyoruz.
And this is not just limited to soap, it can be anything. We produce paste. So what the really point was taking what they already make at home and putting it into production to make money out of it, and also kind of synergizing the cultures with their knowledge of soap production with the olive oil that we have, for example.
We'll do one more question.
Hello, thank you very much. I have a question for you. As you spoke about food being the tool for change, specifically where you spoke about the health challenge of the 5-year-old, I'd like for you to talk a little bit more, if you can, about the health impact on your community that obviously you were able to implement in the agriculture, as you talked about traditional farming methods, and how that's going and if that's being sustained and looked at as an overall positive health initiative for all.
Ya 5 yaşındaki kızınızın sağlık sorunundan bahsettiniz. Bu sağlık çerçevesinde genel olarak bir soru sormak istiyorum. Çok büyük değişimler yaptınız Mardin'de. Bu değişimlerin genel olarak toplum içerisindeki sağlık üzerine de bir etkisini görüyor musunuz?
Tabii biz mesela bu artık kimyasal gübreyi daha kullanmıyoruz artık. Çünkü bu kimyasal gübrenin yapabileceği şeylerin aslında biz 12 bin yıl önce tarım bizim topraklarda başlıyor ve kimyasal gübreyle başlamıyor. Biz alıştırdık. Daha çok ürünü alabilmek için kimyasal gübreyi biz kendi hayatımıza soktuk.
So for example, we no longer use any chemical fertilizers, and we have been cultivating products here for over 12,000 years, never with chemical fertilizers. So that's one thing we remove.
Dolayısıyla aslında sağlıklı üretim teknikleri var ve bunlar geçmişten bize daha geliyor ve biz bunları biliyoruz.
So there already is healthy production avenues. It's nothing we're creating now. We already know these.
Ve biz bunları uyguluyoruz ve öğretiyoruz. Herkese öğretiyoruz.
And we try to apply it and teach it to everybody.
Hayatınızda bana hep soru soruyorlar. Hayatınızda gözden geçirdiğiniz ve pişman olduğunuz bir şey var mı diye.
They always ask me, do you have any regrets, mistakes in your life?
1999 yılından beri ben bir şefim.
I'm a chef since 1999.
Fakat 2012 yılına kadar yemeğin kaynağını sorgulamamıştım.
But until 2012, I've never questioned where my food comes from.
Öğrendikten sonra herkese öğretmeye başladım.
Once I learned, I started teaching everyone.
Bu sadece sağlık için değil, sürdürülebilir gelecek için hepimize gerekli olan bilgiler.
And this is not just for health. This is knowledge that is very important for all of us for a sustainable life.
Ve herkese örnek olmak istiyorum. Özellikle kendi yaşadığım yerde 2 restoranım var. Şimdi 3. bir restoranımı açıyorum. Ve restoranlarımda yemediğim ve çocuklarıma yedirmediğim hiçbir şeyi sunmuyorum.
And I really want to be an example to other people. I have 2 restaurants right now, currently opening a 3rd one. And I would never serve anything in my restaurant that I wouldn't eat and that I wouldn't give to my kids to eat.
Okay.
Thank you, Chef Ebru, for showing us that not only is food nourishing for our bodies, but for our spirit and our